right, you know who my next guest is, the action man, Chris Curtis, who looked phenomenal in his UFC debut, finishing Phil Haas at UFC 268 this past Saturday. Chris, how are you?
I'm good, man. I'm just still coming down from it, enjoying the ride, though.
Yeah, well, congratulations. I've been interviewing you for a little while now, long time in the making. So I'm very happy to see you go in there and get this win. First off, was there anything that surprised you with his game plan? Because he really came forward and was looking to make this into a striking battle with you, which is right up your alley, something that you're really good at.
Yeah, I didn't expect him to strike as much, and I that was weird. I thought he was gonna be way more wrestling heavy, and he was hats off to Phil and hoofed. His striking was the best I've seen it by far. Like, he's made a lot of improvements since his last fight. He was clearer than I expected. He's faster than I expected, and opposite game plan of what we expected. So hats off to him. It's one way to surprise me.
Did he hurt you with anything early on? I mean, he did land some big shots. Were you ever stunned at all?
No, never stunned. The front kick sucked. Like one of those front kicks. Like, I felt this toe go between my ribs, and I was like, that was actually really painful. I was like, all right, so that's still got a little bit of a bruised rib going on right now. But one of those front kicks got through really good, and I was like, oh, that was miserable. Punching wise, though, I'm kind of lucky. I've got really good defense. I've got really good chin. I trust my defense. And as clean as he was, he still strikes like a wrestler. So his punches are more pushes than snaps. So that kind of helps too. On the flip side, though, on video, you can see me getting knocked around the ring. He's essentially just shoving me every time I get hit. And at that point, I'm like, I can stay here and try to take it. Or when he like shoves me, I just go with it. It doesn't look as great on camera, but I don't take any damage. I just let myself fall with it.
Now, you've been fighting for some of the biggest promotions in the world for a very long time now, but I know your goal has always been to make it to the UFC. Did you feel like any added pressure, any added nerves for this fight? Maybe even just making your way down to the octagon?
I'm really lucky, man. Being my 35th fight, I learned to deal with those nerves a long time ago. Like, in the ring, as he's walking out, I just talking to my manager. I was like, this feels like every other fight to me. So I was really lucky to where it's definitely like a crazy moment. And like, you gotta kind of enjoy it and like let it soak in. But I didn't have any extra pressure because it just felt like another fight to me, which is, but I've got 35 fights. I've been doing this for a long time. 35 pro fights. I'm doing this for a long time. So it was just another fight to me.
Run us through the finish. Obviously, you tagged him and ended up finishing him. Ultimately, how did that come about?
I was just getting backed up way too much. So, Sean Strickland screaming at me, like, stop fighting like a wuss. So if you ever watch the video, I throw a jab, I throw a cross to the body, which lands. So then I throw a jab. He throws a jab, and I slip it and hit him with an uppercut to the body, which really hurt him. Like, it hurt him. It stunned him. Threw a kick to the body, kind of landed. He didn't like it. And every time I was throwing the jab to lead into that, I was changing my level with it. And on the last time I did it, he changed his level with me. And that's what we're kind of hoping for. So I changed my level, painted the jab and changed my level. He changed with me, and we were just like, just take his head off. And so, like, it was one of those things to, like, hopefully if he goes with me, I'm going to crack him. If not, it was worth a shot. So he bit down on the feint, and we just let it rip. That stubbed him pretty hard. He didn't like that. His on wobbly legs, we followed up with some more punches. But actually hit him with a really hard knee in the solar plexus. I'm pretty sure it was a solar plexus shot. No, I thought it was a liver shot at first, but normally if you get hit with a liver shot, people tend to fall to their knees. And he kind of took a step back and just tumbled over. And then when he hit the ground, he kind of like had this like a spasm almost. So like, when you see that a lot, it means somebody got hit in the solar plexus, and like they're trying to like essentially get their breathing back on track. So I think I cracked him really hard in the solar plexus with that knee, and he was just done. Like, it's like cutting the strings on a puppet, man. He just was done.
Is this how you envisioned this fight to end? Did you feel like you were going to knock him out early, or did you anticipate maybe this going a little bit later on into the fight, second, third round maybe?
I knew I would finish him. I said in every interview I'd finish him. I said it'd be in the third round. I wasn't expecting the first round. I thought he would wrestle more, and I thought it would, take longer. I really thought he'd wrestle from the get-go, and it was just going to be kind of, wrestling versus counter wrestling, tire him down to the mid of the first and second round, and finish him in the third. I wasn't expecting him to stand as much as he did and wrestle as little as he did, but I mean, I'm totally fine with that. People are like, oh, he's backing you up, he's throwing. Like, I've been in a lot of fights. Like, somebody being aggressive and throwing at me isn't going to make me panic. I'm gonna stay calm. One of my biggest weapons is my composure in a fight, because I've been in some really bad fights where I had to bite down and kind of like be calm and collected. And I'm not gonna lose my cool being thrown at. I didn't take any damage. When someone's going that hard, you have to remember they can only go for so long. Like everybody's got a limit. And so long as I'm blocking, I'm shelling, I'm rolling with the punches, and not just taking them hard, we bet that my defense would beat his cardio, and it did. He slowed down just enough for me to be like, okay, now your athletic advantage is gone.
And man, what a win it was. Can you put into words just what it meant to you to get that UFC win, to get that off of your back, and to do it in such dominant fashion where you finish your opponent in round one? It must be, I guess, the culmination of a lot of years of very hard work.
I've sacrificed my entire adult life for this sport, man, to get to this position and get to this moment. Like, it's so much I've given up. I don't have the word. I still don't have the words to just say just what it means to me. Like, the best I can tell people is it's a combination of like validation for everything that you lost. Everyone said you couldn't do it, and just having a weight lifted off of your shoulders. Like, my biggest fear was I never get there. I never get a chance to be there. I never get a chance to see how good I was. And like, I just never get the opportunity. And then to finally have the opportunity, and then, to be such a big underdog, and no one in the, 99% of the world thought I was going to get smashed in the first round and finish, and to shut everybody up and show them that, like, I should have been here a long time ago. I've earned my right to be here. There aren't words to describe that feeling, man. I wish I had them, but I don't.
Well, congratulations, man. Very, very happy that you went in there and did your thing, man. Now, as far as afterwards, celebrating, did you listen to the Baywatch theme song? Like, what was the go-to immediately that you did after the win?
Pizza was the go-to. I went and got pizza because I was starving. I don't usually eat too much on fight days, so we went and got pizza, went back to the hotel and hung out. I'm 34. I'm an old man in this now, so like, my party days are behind me. But I think honestly, even more so than that, it was just very surreal at the time. So like, it didn't really it hasn't really sunk in until today. I'm like, okay, this is a real thing. It's a very surreal moment. So not as much celebrating yet, but I'm sure this week will be better. But it's just now, becoming solid. It's just now solidifying as a real thing in my mind.
And what an event to make your debut on. I mean, holy smokes, UFC 268. A lot of people are saying this is like a top 5 all-time pay-per-view with just how great the fights were and just how meaningful they were with the title fights. I mean, what does that mean to you to not just win your UFC debut, but to be on this card?
It's great, man. It's freaking amazing, especially to debut there after so long of struggling. It's also a double-edged sword, though, because I picked the worst card of the year to try to get a bonus on. So double-edged. So yeah, like, it's just, I picked the single worst card of the year to try to get that on. But at the same time, like, I got the debut in Madison Square Garden on like honestly one of the best card all year. So yeah, you won 50K, but it's also I can earn 50K still. I'll try to get in the next one. But like, that's for a debut especially, that's a feeling you only get once, and like, I'm glad I got it.
Yeah, no doubt. I'm sure you watched the pay-per-view, or at least as much as you could. What's your overall thoughts just on the main, co-main, and then that Gaethje Chandler fight? They were all just amazing.
The Gaethje Chandler fight was insane, and it's funny because you don't see a fight. It's rare you see a fight that good, and you see other fighters like, you know what? I'm glad that wasn't a 5-round fight. Like, there's some fans that, oh, it should have been 5 rounds. Every fighter I know is like, you know what? 3 rounds is perfect, because like, you don't want to see 5 rounds of that. Like, you guys need to go to a hospital. Thank you for that performance, but like, that's more than enough. Like, it's just an epic fight, man. Like, that's going to be a classic. Rose. People keep doubting Rose. People continue to doubt Rose for whatever the reason. Like, she keeps defying the odds and beating people up. So I love Rose. I love Pat. They're great people. They're awesome. So I couldn't be more happy for them. And like, one day people will give Rose Namajunas the respect she deserves. I don't know why it doesn't happen yet, but one day people will be like, they'll recognize, like, man, she's truly something special, and stop just outright disrespecting this woman. It's insane to me. Colby looked better than he did better than I thought he would. I honestly thought Usman would finish him early and probably inside of 3. And Covington's just a dog, man. Like, he got that unfortunate thing in his life right now. He's the best welterweight on the planet if Kamaru Usman wasn't a real person. So it just sucks. Like, every fighter's got one guy who has their number. And unfortunately, the guy who has their number is the champ. So it sucks for Colby. He's definitely, the second best guy on the planet right now. Who knows what happens in the future? But, I think he cleans up most of the rest of the division easily.
Yeah, I totally agree. I had it 2-2 going into that 5th round. I mean, that was a super close fight, and you got to give a lot of credit to Colby for coming back after being dropped twice in the 2nd round. One question I had for you, I just wanted to get your overall opinion on like the all-time greatest welterweight, because right now there's a lot of talk about Usman catching George St. Pierre. What's your thought process on that? I mean, George had, I think, 9 title defenses. This was Usman's 5th title defense. Do you feel he still has to string together a few more wins before we can talk about that, or do you feel like he's already at GSP level?
I think the greatest GSP is the greatest welterweight of our time. I think MMA is too young to have an all-time anything, because it's like it's like a few decades old. Like, no one had the greatest boxer of all time 30 years in. It's not a thing. So I think GSP is the greatest welterweight of our time for sure. Like, I think Usman still has some catching up to do. He's got some big shoes to catch up to, but Usman's on his way, at this pace, at this rate, to be up there. But I think any all-time MMA fighter is stupid. Like, it's 30 years old roughly. Like, no one had the greatest boxer of all time, after the sports invention immediately. It's not a thing. MMA survives another 500 years. They might not even remember GSP, or you might have he may be looked at as this guy's like Henry Greb, who's freaking amazing in boxing, but the current fans don't know who he is really. So I hate the all-time argument. I think he's the greatest of our time for sure.
Okay, fair enough. Now, you signed a 4-fight deal here prior to your debut. Are we expecting to maybe see you back in again soon? Did you take significant damage where you got to be on the shelf for a little while, or do you feel like you could make that second octagon appearance here in the future?
I'm asking for December. I took no real damage. I got a scrape on my cheek, and my ribs are a little. One of my ribs is a little sore where that front kick got me. But I was back in the gym on Monday. I feel fine. I'll go, half speed this week, give my rib a chance to rest, but I'm totally fine. I'm trying to fight December, so we're talking to them about that. Hoping we can get something, and we'll see. But December, January, February, I'm trying to get in as soon as possible.
How cool would it be to have you and your boy Sean Strickland on the same card? Is that something that maybe you guys are hoping?
Oh, yeah. He was like, get in the January card, so blah blah blah. So they can pull that off, that'd be cool too. But it's just the sooner the better, man. Like, if they can give me December and January, I'll do that.
Now, they haven't actually announced Strickland's next fight. He had 2 fights canceled, right? There's nothing on the books yet for his next one, correct?
Yeah, disappointing. Luke Rockhold let him down, as he would say. So they're looking. I don't think it's been officially announced yet, but there's talks. I don't think it's been announced yet.
Okay, I can't wait to see him back in there, man. And as far as an opponent for you, I know you're kind of the new guy here in the UFC, but anyone come to mind that you'd like to tangle with, or are you just going to take whoever they give you?
Well, at 85, at 70, I had some ideas, but I guess we're going to be hanging around at 85 until someone beats me out of the weight class. So until then, I don't really know. So I know the only 85ers I know are the people I train with and like my friends. I don't know who else in the division. So I don't honestly know who there is to fight, nor do I care though. I'm just like, as long as the check's good and they'll pay me, I am down for whatever.
Yeah, well said, my man. Well, again, Chris the Action Man Curtis picks up a monster win in his UFC debut, knocking out Phil Hawes in the first round at UFC 268. Always a pleasure catching up with you, my man. Before I let you go, I want to give you the floor. Tell people where to follow you on social media. And if you have anyone to thank, the floor is yours.
Yeah, man, you guys can follow me on social media. Now I actually switched my accounts. They both match. Instagram and Twitter at ActionMan513. And as far as shout outs and thanks, man, thanks to my manager, Lance Spouty, and Jason House at Iridium Sports. They made this happen. It's taken 3 long years and a lot of leg work and a lot of head banging against walls, but we got in there finally. Thanks to all my coaches at Extreme Couture, Nate Pettit, Eric Nipsick, Dennis. You guys have been great. My boxing coach, James Gifford. has been a huge help to me and a big inspiration. All my friends at Freestyle MMA who've been really good friends to me. I got a lot of friends at Syndicate MMA as well who've been like great partners and friends. And thank the fans, man. I'm telling you, I've got so much love and support and outpouring and everything. I cost a lot of people money, but I made a lot of people even more money. So thank you guys, and I appreciate the love and support. And on to the next one.
Make sure to subscribe to the LowKick MMA YouTube channel for all the latest news, event previews, and interviews with some of the biggest stars in MMA.